core users. Now, who would be the core users? Core users are one step ahead from the end users. Okay, they would be having a little bit more knowledge into the SAP. So what happened when we do the implementation? There are so many end users are there in every department. So this is my buying department. In buying department in the different countries, I have so many buyers, senior buyers, strategic buyers, buying plastics, buying direct material, indirect material. So I'm having somewhere around 200 buyers working along it. There are companies we have worked, they can have up to 2,000 buyers also across the globe who are doing the buying function. Out of them, we'll be identifying few, one or two people, and we'll be saying that these people would be contributing to the SAP implementation project. We always prefer these few people comes out from the business work and they would be involved into the SAP project with the 100% bandwidth. But that does not happen in all of the projects. So you would be getting there kind of a 50% bandwidth. 50% they will work on SAP project. And 50% they would be working on their operational work. So we reduce their operational work a little bit and we give them the additional things to work on to SAP project. Okay, so they would be working, they would be involved into the discussion. They would be understanding the SAP. They would be giving the business requirement would be giving. There are few things which even they don't know. So they need to reach out to the another team members. They need to reach out to, but it would be their job. Okay, if I ask them, boss, when you buy it from one entity within your entity, you are having two different SAP system. US is different SAP system. India is different SAP system. When you buy from US, do you need a purchase order approval? If you need a purchase order approval, how many steps of approvals should be there? Now, these things, they said that, okay, to give answer to this, I need to discuss with the managers or to the directors that whether we need approval and how many steps of approvals would be there. So they would be our contact person. They would be reaching out to those people or they would be bringing those people into the meetings, ad hoc meetings to get our question answered. So these people would be responsible to give us the note it down. Everyone note it down the stuff which I am talking about. This stuff is very important. Because after this training, you want to become an end user, you want to become a core user, you want to become a consultant. You're already consultant, you are getting cross-trained. That is a different thing. But these are the things you can mention in your profile if you're showcasing an end user role or if you're showcasing your core user experience, which I would be asking you to do it even though you have not done it. Because when you have gone through this training, when you have gone through the SAP Job and Mastery, you have exposure to the full implementation project, right? So I would be asking you to showcase that in your CV. That does not show that I have done this. You would be explaining that what kind of activities you have done. And these activities I'm talking about right now here. If the previous experience, you want to show it 2 years of core users, 3 years of core user experience, you want to show it, which is a very valuable experience. Okay. You need to mention these all terminology, which I would be speaking in next 10, 15 minutes in your CV. So make sure you take notes. So they would be giving the business requirement to you. They would be the first one who would understand that how SAP works, what kind of things we can do it in SAP. So they would be giving the business requirement. They would be understanding the SAP process flows. They would be working on to the as-is process flow. So what we ask that when we bring those people into the workshops, we tell them that the first thing in the workshop, the requirement gathering workshop will be starting with, will be asking you to explain your as-is process. How you do in current business, what kind of as-is process you do, how your accounts payable, you do it. How do you make sure that you pay to your vendors? How do you make sure you make your correct payments to receive correct payments from your customer? What is the as-is process? So they can come up with the as-is process flow. They need to make it. They need to come it up into the workshop, or they can have a specific slide deck to explain their business that we would be asking first them to present. What is the as-is process? What kind of business challenges right now they are facing? What kind of business improvement, business process improvement they are looking for It is not like that we want to implement their as-is process, we want to make it same process as a 2B. So we need to understand how they are doing right now, what kind of challenges they are facing it, okay, and what kind of modification they want to do when they want to jump into SAP in their business process. All of these things we would be asking question and they would be explaining. Once we explain, understand this, we start explaining them how the process can be done in SAP. We would be giving a demo to them and they would be going through the how the process can be done in SAP. In some cases, with the agile methodology coming into the picture, we will also be giving a sandbox access. In our current project, we are doing this. We give them the sandbox access, or we also have from SAP a best practice client. So your core user would be having access to this. We would be letting them know this is a set of data we have, and they can also explore the system on their own. Actually, we want these users to do this part, explore their system based on the SAP standard test scripts or based on the guidance from the implementation team and consultant. We want them explore themselves. Okay, they would try to create a purchase requisition, purchase order, and then they will say that, okay, what kind of things can be done in SAP? And then from there, after this exploration, they would be coming up with their requirements. Okay, sir, I understand this process and what SAP done. Now we require a purchase requisition approval for my direct materials, one step. For indirect approval, based on this parameters, it need to go to the 5 different steps. That's where they would be coming. This is their requirement. Requirement does not mean that it need to be fulfilled by it. There should be developments need to be done for them. Requirement can be only thing that what business, after understanding the SAP, he feels that, okay, this is the one thing I didn't find from the system exploration, or when you explain the SAP system, I didn't find. This is my requirement. This is how I want to get it done. Or you would be telling that the purchase requisition approvals can be done, purchase order approvals can be done, but what are the number of level of approvals need to happen? You need to let us know. Okay, so that things need to be explained by the core users. They need to give the requirements. So they would be giving the requirements, and once the requirement has been given, they would also be working on, once the requirement has been given, the functional consultant would be preparing the functional specifications, where basically the things need to be done, where the development need to be done. And then you also need a master data in the system. So these users would be helping you to collect the master data. Master data part, they would be first getting a training of the master data from the consultant. This is a template which need to be fulfilled. They would be working onto this master data to collect all this data so that it can be loaded into the system. That would be a very big activity, which they would be working on at least for 6 to 9 months continuously. They need to work because we need to upload this master data multiple times in a project lifespan. So master data collections, improvements, they would be working very in depth. They would also be working on reviewing 2B process, signing off. We need sign off. 2B process is nothing, your business blueprint. Business blueprint which consultant has been created, that would be reviewed by the core team members. Core users would be reviewing it and they would be signing it off it. This is my as-is process and this is the 2B process which SAP team is recommending, and I am okay with it. You need to give a sign off. They would also be reviewing it, functional specification, wherever it's RISE-FW. Function consultant has created a function specification. It need to go to the core team member. They would be reviewing it, making sure that what requirement they have given, the correct requirement has been mentioned in the documents, because there's a lot of time happens that this requirement is something else, consultant understands something else, and ABAP would be having some other understanding and development would be done for something else, right? So to reduce this communication gap, we give the function specification to the core team members so that they can approve the functions. All these things you need to mention reviewing FS, approving FS, reviewing business blueprint document, approving business blueprint document was part of your role when you're working onto the current implementation as a core team member, or when the implementation was done, when you was involved as a core team member, you have done all this stuff. These all are the key things which has been mentioned in the job description. And then the number of interview calls, when you mention these key things in your profile, you will say that the number of interview calls will jump. You need to review the functional specifications, okay? And I'm just giving you a gist of it, the detailed 60 hours on this step, and then the internship program where actually you would be sitting and doing it would be coming in job and mastery and the internship programs. And they would also be the testers. They would be involved in ITC. In ITC, they would be involved, okay? Integration test cycle, they would be involved. Okay, so in integration test cycle, they would be the testers. And when UAT would be happening, we expect that the core team member, there would be another team members would be called from this group. They would be doing the UAT, and core team member would be doing some scripts in the UAT, and they would also be supporting if any error issue comes. We try to mention that these people, apart from consultant, need to be able to support. These people would be getting SAP trainings from consultant, core team member take it, which we call it train the trainer concept. The consultant would be training them. And these people would also be used to train end users. So getting training from consultant and being involved into the project, the knowledge level would be quite high. And with that, before go live, they would be the one, the core team members are the one who would be training the end users. Okay. Once the go live has been done, these people also act as a L1 support. L1 support means any issue came to the end user, they would be the one who would be supporting it first. If they cannot resolve it, they would be creating a ticket. I always call, if you have worked into an implementation project as a core team member, where you have worked in depth, but with your interest, you are 80% consultant. You are already 80 to 90% consultant. You know the business processes, you know the master data, you have done the testing, you have taken the training, you have given the training. If all of these things you have done, you're already 80% consultant. The only thing you need to just jump into is know a little bit of the configuration part, the SPRO part, which you will not get a chance. The people who will be going through this process and become a consultant would be they will become outstanding consultants, but not everyone will get a chance. Okay, it does not mean you cannot become a consultant. I actually was never worked in this core team member in implementation project. I was a core team member after the implementation. Okay, I was never being a core team member in the implementation, but in my CV, I have shown the experience. How I have gone through the different trainings, 6-7 different trainings, spending 20 years ago, spending almost how much I spent 3.5 lakh rupees doing a training from 3 different institutes, including SAP standard training. I'm giving all of this to you into a throwaway price so that you become a good consultant. You should also be able to showcase experience, because without showcasing experience, you don't get the interview calls. That is a truth in the market. Okay. So this is what I have explained you in detail, because after this training, people who does not have any SAP experience, we would be asking them to showcase the experience as a core team member, and then later on showcase the experience as a consultant, and then do their job search. So these all terminologies you need to get it used to.